What's up, THS? I'm Mrs. Smith from the library. Our theme for this week is plot twist, and these are my top three. So the books that I've picked for you for this week are all very carefully crafted novels, but they have a huge payoff at the end. One thing about good readers is that they make predictions as they read. So most of you will probably figure out the plot twist before you get to the end of these. The only question is when. To kick things off, I want to tell you about one of the most legitimately scary books that I've ever read. Book number 3 is The Unfortunates by Kim Liggett. As you may have deduced from the cover, this book is a little dark. The guy with the symbolically blood-stained hands is Grant Tavish V. His parents, one of whom is a senator, are set on strategically shielding him from the consequences of his actions. And the family attorney has coached him on exactly what he is to say at his upcoming court date. It boils down to 4 words. I don't remember anything. But Grant does remember, and he has not been able to shake the guilt that he feels after walking away from a car accident that left 4 other teenagers dead. Grant is planning a solo hike on the Appalachian Trail from which he has no intention of returning. So no spoilers, but that's where this book starts to turn into an Eli Roth type teen horror thing that is truly terrifying, but also fun to solve. Everyone who's checked out this book and read it figured out the ending before the big reveal, so maybe you can too. If you fancy yourself a super sleuth, or maybe you just want to see if a book can actually scare you, let me recommend The Unfortunates by Kim Liggett. All right, with book number 2, I have to tread very lightly because I shouldn't tell you too much about this book before you actually get to read it for yourself. I think I'm going to just give you the hook and also let you know that this is one of these books where the first day that the library opens and classes come to visit, back when we were able to do that, this is one of the titles that always gets checked out of all my copies on the very first day. This is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I told you I would give you the hook. Here it is. 5 students go into detention and only 4 come out alive. The blurb on this book actually really nails it when it describes the book as part Pretty Little Liars and part The Breakfast Club. Actually, this book is a blatant ripoff of The Breakfast Club, all the way down to the teacher who supervises detention, making them write an essay. But I don't care. I love it so much. All the stock characters from The Breakfast Club are there, but with a timely refresh. So the brain, or the nerd, is Bronwyn. She tutors students in her free time. She's headed to an Ivy League school, and she works really hard to stay on the tippy top of her grades. Addie is the Molly Ringwald beauty queen character. Of course, her boyfriend sucks. Cooper is the athlete. I was a little bored with him at the beginning, but his story gets better as you move along. The criminal / John Bender character is Nate. He's the plug for the whole school, and he's not very subtle about it, which is probably why he stays in detention and on probation. The 5th character is the outcast, and in this book, his name is Simon. Simon publishes school gossip on this app he runs called About That, which is a TMZ style news update, and he just spills the proverbial tea on everyone at school. He uses initials instead of the student's name, but obviously we all know who they're talking about, right? And everyone hates him for it, as they probably should. Especially the other 4 kids who are in detention with him, who all have their own reasons to want him silenced. Oh, the drama. Look, this is the type of book I think where you'll know right away whether or not it's for you. Personally, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure favorite for me, and I think you'll like it too. So that's book number 2, One of Us is Lying by Karen and McManus. If you were to get on young adult literature Twitter and dig around there, which is a very librarian thing to do, I don't expect that you would, but if you did, you would find posts from people about their experience being Tiffany D. Jackson. That is a very specific type of victimization where you read a book and you're like, what just happened? Uh, this book, book number 1, is the OG version of that, which makes sense because it's Tiffany D. Jackson's debut, and my girl comes out of the gate swinging. Here it is, book number 1. It's called Allegedly. Mary Addison, the main character in Allegedly, is 15. And for the last 6 years, she's been living in what she calls baby jail, which is a group home for juvenile delinquents. When she was 9, Mary was convicted of the murder of a infant who was in her care and her mother's care. She was helping her mom babysit, and the baby died. At no point in the investigation or the trial did Mary bother to tell her side of the story. And so that resulted in Mary ending up where she is. But now Mary is pregnant, the result of a relationship between Mary and Ted. Ted is one of the kids who lives in the group home and works with her, who's also in trouble for his own reasons. And now that she's pregnant, she is very interested in the truth of what actually happened coming out. She's pretty sure that if she does have this baby, they're not going to let her keep it if everyone thinks that she's a murderer. So she's desperate for her mom's help in defending herself, but her mom is not interested in helping her or jeopardizing her own freedom. If only that were Mary's only concern, but of course it's not. The girls who live in the group home with her terrorize her constantly. And there's a new girl who is kind of sus, and Mary's not sure if she can trust her or not. She's also not sure if she can trust Ted or anybody for that matter. Ever since Mary was a kid, it's been Mary versus the world. And now that she's got her own kid to think about, the stakes are higher than ever. I read this book a couple years ago and I'm still shook. All 3 of the books that are on our list for this week will probably leave you shook, and I would love to get a copy into your hands as soon as possible. You guys know how to get at me, how to use the library website. Of course, you remember that the link is in your email, so I will look forward to hear from you, to see you when I bring you one of these books or another book that we have in our library. And of course, I'll be back next week with some more book talks for you from our library. Take care. Bye-bye.